Hi everyone, welcome to the SI2 training for steering teams. The topic this month is preparing for Council Discussion 5 on interventions. And as you can probably see, we're using a new format. This was actually suggested by James McNeely, who is the principal at Garin Catholic High School, and we really appreciate this. I think you'll find that this video is going to be much quicker, and hopefully you'll be pleased with the new format. So very, very thankful to James McNeely for his involvement in making some suggestions that I think everyone will appreciate. Okay, so we know that on your steering team that all the point persons have been assigned. So if you are not aware of your point position, if you'll pause the video right now and just have that discussion real quickly about what everybody's tasks are. Okay, so we are prepping for Council Discussion 5 on interventions. And there's one or several pre-discussion tasks that have to happen before you open the council discussion. One is you need to make sure that your root causes have been entered online. Another one is to make sure that your strategy research chart has been uploaded. And that strategy research chart is found in the conference program. It is on page, I'm going to have to find it real quickly. It's towards the end. It is page 27. You can also download it from the online system, but remember you came to the conference to search for strategies or interventions that could address your root causes, and you wrote those as you attended the conference, and now we'll need you to upload that sheet so that you could share that information with your council. And then finally, the student body discussion needs to be entered online also. That will enable your council to look at all three of those things as they're going through their activity. Okay, so after you have entered your interventions, then there's a couple of post-discussion tasks. And we think this is really what makes one of the things that makes SI2 rich. So there will be 5 different crosswalk reports after the interventions are in. And those 5 reports will help you answer these questions. One is, do your interventions sufficiently address each root cause? So you open up that report, and when you look at those root causes, if you just have a couple of token interventions but nothing really gutsy to address those root causes, then you don't have a strong school improvement plan. Do your interventions address key elements of high achieving schools? Do they address key turnaround principles? So you'll be able to look at 2 reports that help you analyze that. Also, do your interventions meet external expectations if you're a Title I school or a priority or focus school, or PL 221 if you're working to meet those requirements? And then finally, the last crosswalk report is going to help you identify if you're stretching your faculty too much. So you'll be looking at the amount of energy that's required by all of your interventions and just kind of making an assessment about that. Okay, so what we want to spend most of our time doing is showing you how to use the online system to enter your interventions and then to look at those crosswalk reports that will help you analyze your interventions. So I'm going to go to the online system, and I am logged in as Demo SI2 School. Our demo school has some root causes entered, but no interventions yet. So I want to just walk through how you might do that, and then we'll look at the reports. So if I scroll down to this month's activities, which is step 8, so we're looking at interventions. And if I look at all of these top steps, these are things that you're used to. Watch the 2 videos, participate in the learning community on March 5th, upload your strategy research chart from the conference, and then you'll just use an uploader button there. Enter the student body discussion, open the council discussion, monitor the discussion, enter the council summary. And then after all those discussions have happened, then you're going to enter your interventions. And I'm just going to click on the enter, and you'll see that I have no interventions added yet. So I'm going to add an intervention. And I like to, when I'm entering these things, I like to kind of write things out ahead of time using a Word doc and then just cut and paste it in. So I'm going to open my Word doc. The first intervention is a 7th grade ratios lesson that I'm going to enter into into our work. So I'll put in the title, 7th grade ratios unit, and then put in the description. Oops, that didn't. Let me go back and get that. There we go. Enter the description that I've cut and pasted from my Word doc. Which root cause is this going to address? So this is going to address that ratios are not taught in the 7th grade curriculum. That was one root cause. And this intervention also includes some extra help, so I can click that one as well. So then the next question is asking you, is this intervention going to address a student group gap? And you'll notice up here in the root causes that we've said that we've identified that absenteeism is more of an issue for males. But the two root causes that I've checked, the school has not indicated that this is that there's a gap in these root causes. So I'm going to click no here. Is this intervention addressing the needs of targeted 1 task students? No. Which ASA elements for high achieving schools? So I'm going to click instruction and classroom assessment. And because I'm also adjusting the curriculum, I'm going to also pick curriculum. And then the turnaround principles, this would probably be instruction and assessment. Then I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then on the next screen, on the next tab, I can go in to start developing this, this intervention. So who's responsible for implementing this? Jane Doe. What level of energy is this going to require? It's going to be medium. I'm going to select because it is not going to engage all educators in a major way. It will engage the math teachers, so it's a few educators in a major way. So I'm selecting medium. And then I'm looking at what additional development areas do I need to be looking at. So am I going to need professional development for this? So let's say yes, we're going to need to help those math teachers understand how to teach this unit on ratios. Am I going to need any funding or other resources? Probably no. Do I want to have an action plan for it? Yes. Now, please keep this in mind. Anything that you check here, you're going to be asked next month to develop those. So if you need a professional development plan for most of your major strategies, you should have a professional development plan. So we're going to check that. If you need an action plan to make sure that the intervention gets implemented, you want an action plan. So just keep in mind that you will be further developing next month these interventions when you've made checks here. Okay, so then I'm going to save, and then we've got that one saved, and okay, and we're saved. So if I'm ready to submit this for the ASA staff to look at, I would click Submit Intervention for Review. Okay, I want to go back and put in one more intervention. So I'm just going to hit the back button a couple times and get back to that point. Oops. Okay, and I'll refresh this page so that we'll be able to see. Here's the intervention that we just added. Okay, I'm going to add one more intervention. So I'm going to go down to my list of interventions, and I want to focus on the one on attendance mentors. And if we read this description, this is coordinated by the school's attendance officer in conjunction with the local Chamber of Commerce. Local business reps will call targeted students, primarily males, at home. Okay, so this is an intervention that's going to close a gap. So I'm going to copy that and we'll put it back in here. I'm going to go back to the website. I'm going to add an intervention, and I'll put in here that this is attendance mentors, and here is the description. And this is going to address my root cause of absenteeism and now it's saying it's saying please check, is there this addressing a gap, and I'm seeing yes, male up here, so I'm going to say yes. And then it's saying then I'm going to identify which student groups is this intervention designed to hit in a more major way. So I'm going to click males, and then I'll just go on and do the rest, which there's a question, how does this intervention address the needs of the targeted student group, targeted students for the attendance mentor intervention will be primarily male students. Okay. And then does this address the needs of a targeted 1 students? This is not a targeted 1 task intervention, so I'm going to say no. And again, if you're not a task school, this question will not appear. Okay, so this is going to impact the learning environment because I'm getting kids to school. And if I look into the turnaround principles, I'm also looking at culture and climate because I'm getting students to school. And then I'm going to hit save. And then I do part 2. So who's going to be responsible for this? Betsy Green. This is going to be a low energy because really at school it's only the attendance officer that's getting involved in this. The rest we're using community volunteers. And then am I going to need resource securement? I am going to check yes for that because I need to get those volunteers. So part of my planning will be to make sure that we get the volunteers as a resource, and then I am going to want an action plan for this one. One thing I neglected to mention in the first intervention, these implementation dates, our staff is still working on getting this to be active. I anticipate that by the time we do the learning community on Thursday, that will be active. But basically you're going to pick one date or multiple dates or a series of dates when this intervention will happen. Okay, so I'm going to click save, and we've got that one saved. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the process page, and I've got 2 interventions in. Of course, in an actual school there would be a lot more, and I'll go down to the intervention section, and now I want to I'm going to refresh this page just to make sure that everything picked up. Okay, so now I've entered my interventions. So now I can check the root cause crosswalk report after all the interventions are in. So I hit this report, and I can see that my interventions are down the side, and my root causes are along the top. So I can see right now that I have 1 intervention that's going to address absenteeism. So then the question is that enough? Is just having these mentors going to really impact my absenteeism, or do I need something else? And if I were doing this, I would have several interventions probably to really impact that issue. So ratios are not taught in the 7th grade math curriculum. I have this intervention to put units in the math curriculum. So is that enough? In my opinion, yeah, probably that would be enough. Students needing extra help for ratios don't have it outside of the classroom, which is these. So, and in this one you can see there I don't have any interventions that are going to address this. And of course, if you were to find that situation, then you'd want to correct that situation. Okay, so I've checked that one. Now I'm going to go back to, that was the root causes. Now I'm going to go to look at the ASA elements of high achieving schools. So I'm going to click on that report, and same kind of thing. It shows you the 7 different areas of our elements of high achieving schools. And I can see that right now, with just these 2 interventions, I don't have anything that is primarily impacting extra help or student guidance. So I might want to think about, should I have that? After you get all of your interventions in, I think it's going to kind of be clear where you've put your time and energy, because you'll have a lot of checks on instruction, maybe a lot of checks on extra help. but again, not so many on the other areas. And we just want you to think about this. We just want you to say, you know, is this okay that we're not spending any time and energy in our school improvement plan on student guidance? Or is it okay that we're not focused on extra help or whatever? So this is just kind of, again, to help you analyze the strength of your school improvement plan. Okay, so that's the ASA elements. Here's the turnaround principles. So same kind of thing. We've got the 8 different turnaround principles across the top, and then which of your interventions are addressing the turnaround principles. And then the external expectations. That report we're still working on, but basically that will pull up any external expectation you have because you've indicated in the online system that you want to meet state requirements or your focus school or priority school or Title I school. And same kind of thing, the requirements will be across the top, and then we'll kind of check off which ones you're meeting. And of course, if you're not meeting one of those external expectations, then you'd want to address that. Okay, so after we've looked at all of those, I think I skipped one. Yep, the energy level. Same thing. We've got, this is high, medium, or low, and if you end up with like 8 interventions that are all, you know, engaging the staff in a major way, you might want to be thinking about, do we really have the capacity to do all of this, or would we be better off to just do a few of these things really, really well, and save a few for our next school improvement plan? Okay, so after you've done all these crosswalks, then we give you just a line to edit your interventions if you need to, and that's just going to take you back to the page where it lists your interventions, and then you can click the edit button to do that. And of course, this last button is the delete button. Okay, and let's see, so we've edited, and then finally, when you're happy with all of your interventions and you're not going to be adding any more, then click this submit button. And what that does is it tells our staff to look at your interventions collectively. So when each intervention came in, at the end of each intervention, you're submitting it for us to look at and to critique it individually. But when you hit this button, this submit, then we will look at all of your interventions collectively. And we'll be kind of looking at also how strong is this school improvement plan? Is this just, you know, a plan that's focusing on change around the edges and really hasn't dug into what's happening in the classroom? Do we believe that this plan is weak and is not really going to bring about the changes in your root causes that you're seeking? And at that point, we'll call you if we think that there's an issue, or we'll send you written feedback through the online system to say, you know, collectively, we just think that your interventions aren't strong enough to really impact your root causes, or we think you've missed an external expectation or whatever. So this is, and again, you're not clicking this button until you're finished entering all your interventions and you're happy with everything. Then hit that, and then we'll check everything together. The last step is to look at an intervention signature sheet. So that is the last chance for your faculty to say that they agree or don't agree with your interventions. It's a last chance for your advisory council or your school improvement council to do the same thing. So it lists your interventions at the top, and then it just says that our signatures indicate that we are aware of the interventions listed above and that will be implemented in the school next year and support them in concept. So so we think a lot of schools use this. They have every teacher in the building sign off. So some schools just have their school improvement council sign off. And so this sheet is for you to use as you see fit. Okay, so and then of course the last item is the rubric items, and if you click on that one, you know, that pops up for all the intervention section, and just make sure that you read this. This is what our staff's thinking of looking for when they read your work. So you know, make sure that you're looking at that as well. So I think that's it. Just a couple of other things. let's see, I think I'm going to have to go back. Let me just go through these really fast again. Okay, just to wrap up, there's one thing that we did want to just say with everybody while we have you, and that is thank you so much for coming to our conference last week, for volunteering at the conference last week. I think there were 80-some volunteers altogether. You know, there's no way we could put on a conference without your help. So our conference next year is February 17th. And so it's a couple weeks earlier. So the feedback we got from you is that you were hoping that the conference could be a little bit farther away from ISTEP, and that made a lot of sense, especially with DOE expanding the ISTEP window. So so it's a few weeks earlier. We'll let you know when registration is available. We'll be looking for volunteers again, and really, you know, we really view our work as our work, not only our staff, but all of the schools and communities that we work with. And again, thank you to James McNeely for his input. You can see, I hope you like the change in format that we're using on the webinar. And you know, really, we're just all in this together. So thanks so much, and don't forget to participate in the learning community on Thursday, March 5th. You can get registered for that by just clicking that link on the page. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to call Mary Beth. This is the last discussion with your School Improvement Council, and we've learned so much this year about what's working and what's not working. So keep those suggestions coming. It's our goal to make this work just as well as we can for you. So thanks everybody, and appreciate you participating in this month's webinar.